Hey guys, Angry Monkey here.
And Jackson Ferrell from Hot Pile of Garbage.
We're playing some more 999, and Snake has been killed.
Yep.
And according to Seven, he had to have been killed by 2 people because you need at least 3 people to open up the door. Now Ace is saying, no, it's got to be Zero. Zero killed Snake. So now we're trying to decide, okay, so is Zero still on the ship, or is he somewhere else?
Quite frankly, I don't think that it was Zero that killed him. And the reason why is that why would... Zero seems to be interested in playing this game fairly. And it wouldn't be very fair to drag a person onto the ship only
just to kill them.
To seal their fate definitively by killing them.
Yeah.
Even the 9th man had a shot, and he blew it. He lost the game, according to its
rules. I lost the game.
Sorry.
Sorry, all you guys. You guys lost the game.
Everyone lost the game. Yeah, anyways. Back to this game, which I think... I don't think Zero had a hand in the murder. And this makes me a little suspicious of Ace, even though he was willing to sacrifice himself before with the... just because he's trying to put the blame on Zero. None of this is 100%, but I'm not sure whether Zero is on the ship or not.
Okay. He wasn't sure.
Hey, I'm just wondering about one thing. And what's that? How can you be so sure that Zero's on this ship?
Ace's eyebrows shot up.
Really, Junpei? I confess, I'm a little disappointed. Usually you're rather sharp. Isn't it obvious? Obvious? How so? This ship. Huh? Zero said this ship several times when he addressed us.
Okay.
I am Zero, the captain of this ship. The purpose of the game is simple. Leave this ship alive. As you have no doubt surmised, this
ship...
I have to take the dramatic pause. Has begun to sink.
If he weren't here, he wouldn't say, this ship, would he? He'd be saying something like, that ship, or the ship. Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Ace's explanation made perfect sense. Junpei felt a little foolish that he hadn't seen it himself. Still, he was left with a question, and it was one of no small importance.
If Zero's on the ship, where is he?
Suddenly, everyone went very quiet. The silence was cold and clammy, and Junpei could feel it crawling across his back and around his throat. Again, he heard the ghosting moaning noise.
I've got to say, Ace's explanation makes sense. I'm still not willing to entirely absolve him of suspicion, though.
And moments later, a person who looked more ghost than human appeared.
Just like before.
Yeah. It was Clover. She looked at the floor as she spoke, and her voice was cold, monotone.
I think Zero is one of us.
Huh?
Every human body in the room froze. The only sound was the muffled rustling of breath. Eyes darted from face to face. One of those faces was the face of their jailer. But who?
Maybe it was Snake.
Oh. Wouldn't that be something? Like somebody caught wind of Snake's plan and killed him, so that way they would... That's a good idea.
I was suggesting it facetiously, but you make it actually make sense.
Junpei.
Well, that's possible.
Huh?
Like Clover said, Zero might be one of us.
Well, what are you saying, Jumpy? Didn't you hear what Ace said?
Exactly. I said we shouldn't suspect one another for no reason. No reason? I've got a great reason.
And what's that, man?
The bracelets.
He held out his left arm.
Why are the bombs in our bodies connected to the bracelets? You're all thinking Zero's hiding somewhere, watching us, right? If he's doing that, then he could just detonate the bombs by remote control if someone did something they weren't supposed to. Text pauses.
Yeah.
It would be a lot more precise and a lot easier. But if that's the case, then why is the bomb set off by the detonator in the bracelet?
Huh. You got a point, man.
I'm not done. Try applying the same ideas to the nonary game. All of the puzzles here run all by themselves. In other words, Zero doesn't have to be controlling them for the game to move forward.
I think Santa actually mentioned that when we were first in here. He says that somebody killed the ninth man, and Santa says no. Or was it Snake? It was either Santa or Snake that said no, he broke the rules, and it detonated automatically.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember if it was Santa or Snake that said that, but one of them did say that.
Yeah, he went through the door with no one to back him up and turn off the thingy.
Right.
Anyway, why is that? Why would Zero bother to do something like that?
Junpei let the question hang in the air and looked at the others. It was Santa who answered. So, let's say you and Clover are right and Zero's one of us. If that's the case, then it'd be really hard for him to keep track of all of us or control anything remotely. That's why all the puzzles run by themselves, man. That's what you're getting at, right?
Yeah.
Junpei nodded.
7, when we were talking earlier, you said any one of us could be Snake's killer, right? Yeah, something like that. Alright then, I've got a question for you, Ace. You said something like, Zero must be the one who killed Snake, right? Yes, something like that. I can't think of any other explanation. So what do we get if we combine those? They fit together pretty well, I think. Something like this. Whoever killed Snake is Zero, who's one of us. 7 and Ace's theories aren't mutually exclusive. They actually complement each other pretty well. At least they do if Zero is one of us.
No one spoke. Their faces were grim, but Junpei wasn't sure if they believed him or not. Finally, Lotus spoke up.
What were his motives? His motives? Yes! Isn't that pretty important? Why would Zero want to hide as one of us? Oh, well, that's because,
Junpei choked. He hadn't thought of that, and he had to be honest with himself. He had no idea.
I don't know.
Lotus sighed.
Well, so much for making a persuasive argument, Junpei. In other words, you had only circumstantial evidence. I don't really think that's enough to go on, you know?
Junpei was painfully aware of their eyes on him and their disapproval. He tried to find something else, anything else, to look at. Hey, a squirrel.
The squirrel.
What's it doing on a ship? Oh, there's a fish. Hi, fish. Just when he felt he could bear it no longer. Uh-oh.
What?
They heard a bell begin to ring. The clock at the central staircase. 3 in the morning.
Time's running out. That means we have 3 hours left! Then we need to move, now. 7, Clover, Junpei. I know how you feel, but you do understand that right now, it's important we trust one another, don't you?
Junpei couldn't bring himself to respond. He swallowed the words he wanted to say and sighed. 7 and Clover remained similarly silent. Their eyes were looking at something somewhere else very far away. Like a galaxy, a long time ago, very far away.
We must go. We have very little time left.
Ace's words put their feet to moving. They all knew where they were going. Their next destination was Mercury. Whoa.
HG.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking, wow, we're on a ship on Earth and we're going to Mercury. So
Yeah, we gotta fly the ship.
yeah. Oh, I guess if it's that kind of ship, then yeah.
Yeah, spaceship.
Yeah. Oh, wouldn't that be something if that was the plot twist? It was a spaceship.
And we'll travel back in time
Whoa!
to a galaxy far, far away.
With lightsabers and stuff that's so more high-tech than what we have in present day.
And the Force, Jedis, and weird aliens.
And the dark side, and Yoda, and... There's Yoda.
Oh, hey. So it is.
Yoda. There he is.
Yep, he's over there, across the room from us.
Over there he is. Okay, anyway. It sat bolted to the wall near the stairs that led to the casino and the kitchen between the two elevators.
The Mercury card reader.
Junpei stood in front of it with the Mercury key card. 7 had given him the card.
I found it when we were checking out the shower room.
At least that's what he'd said. Junpei slid the card through the reader. The light on the reader turned green and made a tiny electronic noise. Now they were ready. Junpei and June had been chosen as the investigators. The reasoning being that they had been to E-Deck before and no one else had. As before, Junpei sent the elevator ahead to make sure the floor they were heading to wasn't flooded. As before, the elevator returned as dry as it when it had left. Once it had been checked for water, Junpei and June stepped into the elevator.
You know, I think it makes sense that Zero is one of us from the perspective of seeding mistrust, because once we figure it out, you know, he's automatically got that element working against us, where we've got to figure out which one he is. It seems like a plausible part of his game.
So there were only 2 floor buttons they could push. The C and the bottom buttons. The rest were destroyed or did nothing when pushed. Junpei hit the bottom button. The door closed. Slowly, they began to move downward.
To the bottom.
Sometime later, Junpei and June stepped off the elevator and onto the bottom deck. They stepped off and saw that the hallway to their right ended somewhere between 20 and 25 feet from them. The hallway in front of them was a dead end.
Dun, dun.
But not a regular dead end. It was really dead.
Super dead.
This is a number door.
This is the 8th one we've found.
There were 2 numbered doors on B deck near the central staircase. They were doors 4 and 5. There were 3 more numbered doors in the large hospital room. Doors 3, 7, and 8. Junpei and June had found another door on E deck, and Lotus and Santa had found a 7th on A deck. There was a 6 on the door on E deck, and a 1 on the door on A deck. 4, 5, 3, 7, 8, 6, 1, blast off! And now, door 2 stood in front of Junpei. There was only one thing it meant.
Do you think the next door we find...
Yeah, I think so. The next one's gonna be door 9.
Despite himself, Junpei felt excited.
Plot twist, it's 17.
There was something about that excitement that frightened him as well. He did his best to put it from his mind and headed back to C deck with June. ...
Alright, let's open these up.
The pieces of paper they folded up lay on the ground next to Junpei's legs. There were 7 of them all told. They were written on paper pulled from Junpei's notebook, and each one bore a code name and a door. Why they had decided to vote that way? They decided it wasn't fair to simply ask everyone at once. That would allow people to force others to go through certain doors. Well, that wasn't the only reason. Junpei had proposed the voting system, and he had a plan. It wasn't a plan he wanted anyone catching wind of, however, so he did his best to act calm as he began to open and read the pieces of paper.
What could his plan
Yeah,
be?
what is he up to? We'll go a little bit further.
Okay.
Because we're about to choose a door, and we'll make that the stopping point for this episode.
Okay.
The first one, red.
Ace requests door 1. Yes, I do. Would you like me to explain why? No, we don't have time for that. Sorry.
Oh,
Let's keep
okay.
going.
I wanted to explain. He opened the second one. Next is Santa.
Next is Santa.
He wants door 6. Yeah, that's what I wrote. Junpei continued with the third, fourth, and fifth pieces of paper. Clover wants 1, Lotus wants 2,
and 7
Seven.
also wants 2. Wait a minute! There's no way I'm going anywhere with the elephant man!
Oh.
No. There'd be no point to the voting if we let people change their choices because of stuff like that. But... Just give it up, Lotus. It's not like I want to hang out with some exhibitionist grandma. I'm not an exhibitionist! I'm wearing clothes!
But she didn't say nothing about the grandma part.
Exactly. Barely.
So? Last I checked, that's not a crime.
Maybe, but what about common decency? Nobody wants to have to look at a chick who looks like a half-naked raisin.
I'm going to kill you.
Whoa, okay.
What the...
Whoa. Lotus's hair flared out like the mane of an angry lion. But Ace is not down in that fight.
I figured you'd say something about that.
And she roared with a voice that shook the walls. With some difficulty, Ace managed to restrain her. Like the lion he is.
Junpei, read the rest. Right.
Junpei tore his eyes away and looked down at the 6th piece of paper. He opened it. June
wants door 6.
Yes. I don't really have a reason, I just felt like it.
All the papers save Junpei's had been read. He did some quick calculations in his head. People who requested door 1, Ace and Clover. This was the door on A deck near the central staircase.
Okay. So that's 5 so far.
People who requested door 2, 7, and Lotus. This was the door on the bottom deck and could be reached by taking the elevator to the bottom of the ship. For people who requested door 6, Santa and June. This was the door on E deck and could be reached by taking the elevator near the central staircase down. It took him less than a second to run the numbers. He opened the 7th piece of paper and spoke.
Okay, the last one is mine. I want to go through...
The next episode!
Oh-ho!
So, in the next episode, we're going to decide on which door we're going to pick.
Yep.
And,
See you guys then.
Yeah, I guess we'll catch you guys in that next episode. And, goodbye.